Hello, my loves. Today we are going to be talking about my January TBR. I am very excited about this. I am not going to be doing my game this go round, but that's because some of my goals have changed. We will go back to the game next month, but I wanted to get a jump start on a few of the goals that I have had, a few of the goals that I established for myself towards the end of the year, and really wanted to get a jump on said goals for 2025. I will talk through those goals as we go through the TBR because all of my goals will be reflected in this TBR. That's kind of why we're breaking away from the game for just this month. But I need to talk about them and I haven't done a video for it yet. Also, excuse me if I sound a little bit hoarse. I am fighting some severe allergies today. They not wanting to cooperate with me. My hair is not wanting to cooperate with me because it's very humid outside. I set a lot of goals for myself at the end of the year. We talked about it in a couple videos that I have done this, that I'm excited for what's coming. You guys have seen the books I want to read in 2025. That is why I was so excited to put together the TBR that is sitting next to me. One of my biggest goals for 2025 is read books I already own. So the first book of this video, of this TBR, is actually going to be one that I don't own physically, but I own on audio, and that will be Reign and Ruin by J.D. Evans. This was an SPFBO winner, I believe, in 2021. It is fantasy romance, and I've heard that the fantasy and the romance elements of this story are done very well. It has been on my TBR since then, so in 2021, it really needs to be something that I pursue, that I read. And even though I don't own the books physically, I do own them on audio, so they need to be read, right? And that is my Patreon read, if I didn't say that. They chose what book we were going to read, or we collectively chose it together, however you want to look at that. My next goal is to read through my book box books. Now, I have in the past had Owlcrate, in the past had Fairy Loot, and currently have Book of the Month and Aardvark. I just got my first Aardvark box, so those will be in a book haul to come. And I'm very, very excited about having Aardvark because I like the selection that they have. It's very different from what Book of the Month puts out. The selections lean more towards my taste. They have some gothic, some horror, a little bit more thriller, and a little less of the contemporary fiction that Book of the Month has, but I have a feeling I'm going to love both of these services and keep both of these services because I really like the books that they pick. If you've seen my top 10, I believe 3 of my Book of the Month books were in my top 10 of 2024. But that does mean I still have a lot of book box books left to read. So I have chosen 3. One also accomplishes a secondary goal of mine, which is to continue series or complete series. And so Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez, I have read the first book in this series. Is it going to tell me? What the River Knows was about a girl who went to Egypt to find her parents after they had gone missing and stumbles into a big scheme of stealing Egyptian artifacts. There are some magical elements to the story, but it definitely leans more on the historical fiction side and less on the magical realism side, less on the fantasy side. But I really like historical fiction, and I really loved the first book of this series, so I do want to continue on with it. I'm very excited to see where this goes because the last book had an ending that, while it wasn't like cliffhanger, it was kind of edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen next. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I love these covers too, by the way. And I want you guys to know the Book of the Month thing up here does not bother me, but I do like that aardvarks are kind of hidden. There is an aardvark on the cover somewhere, but they're not always like in the top corner with a huge symbol like skewing some of the cover. And in following the book box books getting read, I have The Leftover Woman by Jean Kwok. And this is one that I really liked the blurb for. An evocative family drama and a riveting mystery about the ferocious pull of motherhood for 2 very different women. And I really like themes of motherhood in books. I've heard this is a little dark. I've heard that it takes a couple twisty turns. And I'm very excited to see what this provides because, I mean, I love this cover too. What's not to love about the cover? And I've owned this for a little bit now. It's not one of the oldest Book of the Month books that I have, but it is one that I plan to read and never really got around to reading, but am looking forward to it quite a bit. But this one has been on my TBR for quite some time. It's another thriller. It's The Collective, No Killer Goes Unpunished, Allison Galen. Now, with the last book and with this book, buzzwords. That's the other thing that I'm looking for in all of my books in 2025. They have to have some buzzwordy thing that grabs my attention, and moms who slap back. We talked about this in a previous video. I love a mom who's willing to fight for their family. I love a mom who says, not my daughter, not my son. I mean, let's just go there. Harry Potter, we all love Molly, right? So, I mean, and then one of my favorite books, which I don't think you can see it right now, is The Maleficent 7, and that's definitely about a mom who slaps back. So I have been wanting to read this for quite some time. I eyeball it every time I see it sitting on my TBR cart, and it's something that I really want to read. It's about a group of moms. This says, plumbs the dark side of justice and the depths of diabolical revenge in this propulsive novel of psychological suspense that melds the driving narrative of When She Was Gone with the breathtaking twist of The Chain. Just how far will a grief-stricken mother go to right a tragic wrong? It sounds so good to me. Okay, and I really want to get to the books that will self-destruct on my TBR in any given time. I do have ones that will self-destruct in March, and I just recorded a video for ones that will self-destruct next year in December. And this is one that I really feel like I should read because I've read all of the other books by this author, just not this one. I have an issue with this author of all of her books reading the same, but The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Yeah, this is a young adult, and that is totally fine. I do still read some young adult, but this is also a self-destructing book. If I don't read this by March, I'm not going to read it. I also put this on my spooky season TBR to get myself to read it and haven't done it yet. So I'm going to make an effort to actually read it this month, give it a shot, see if it's more of the same old, same old. Can I get rid of it? Do I keep it? All of the above. And then this is about vampires. So I love vampires. Vampires are something that I will always reach for, always be something that I love. I mean, there's Empire of the Vampire and Empire of the Damned right there. I just need to read this and find out if I need to keep it on my shelves. Okay, in the vein of picking up sequels, I do have The Spider by Leo Carew that I need to read before the first book, The Wolf Leaves My Brain. This is very Norse inspired. We have the North and the South who are at war. You get to see both sides of this war. I really enjoyed that aspect of this story, seeing what the generals of each side of this war were thinking and how they were pursuing each other, how they planned to win. The battles in this are really great, and I really enjoyed the first one. I gave the first one 4 stars, so I'm hoping continuing the series I will find a 5-star. I do have this one and the third one, which is another reason that I need to put this on the list and go ahead and finish the series. And to put some books on here that I wanted to read in 2025 that are coming from that list, I have The Silverbud Promise by James Logan. Again, I've talked about this book a couple times recently because it's on my 25 and 2025. Buzzwords is why I want to start this series. I know it's not complete. I'm okay with that. I don't need to binge series, and rarely do I ever binge series in the first place. And so I want to tackle this one and find out if I'm going to enjoy it, see if I need to keep the first book and keep on collecting these, or if it's one that I can get rid of. I don't know what has happened to the spine of this, but it's like kind of melted. I don't know what happened. I didn't set it on anything hot, I don't think, but who knows? Maybe it got set in a window somewhere, or someone may have spilled something on it and then was afraid to tell me. I don't know. But anyway, we have a card sharp who vows to take revenge for the death of his father. And revenge stories are always something I like. I had heard there's a heist in this. Like I said from the synopsis, I'm not sure if that's true. Heist is another big thing for me. Rogue characters is another big thing for me. And so I really want to get into this. Dark humor is another thing. And I feel like I will really, really enjoy this one. And I really want to read it so badly, so badly. I wanted to read it so badly last year, but like I said, I don't know how I got away from my particular buzzwords and started reading everybody else's, but I did. And yeah, I need to start this one. Another on my 25 to read in 2025. I have The Immortality Thief by Taryn Hunt. I'm very excited for this. We have a space opera, and this one is going to be ran by the criminals. We have people who have been sentenced to prison, and they decide that they would rather go on this mission than serve time in prison. And I'm excited to see what that turns into, because they're gathering information. I'm sure some shady stuff is going to go down, and I'm sure there are going to be twists and turns in this, and I'm looking forward to every bit of it. And last but not least, another goal that I really need to tackle in 2025 is my pile of shame, as Emily Fox would say. I have some books that I started reading and then just never finished them. And it was not because I wasn't liking the book. It was wrong book, wrong time. It was I didn't have the mental headspace to absorb said book. There were so many factors that had me going, okay, not right now. And this one gives me the most shame, so I have to put it on the TBR, and that is A Tide of Black Steel by Anthony Ryan. You probably could have guessed that this was going to come up because it's missing from behind me, but I got about halfway through this and my brain just collapsed. We had so much brain fog. I was having so many PMDD issues. I was having so many PCOS issues, and then on top of that, I was having some issues at home, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But this was one of my most anticipated books of the year last year, and I got halfway through it, and then it just absolutely left my brain. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back into this series. I'm very much looking forward to wrapping my head around the things that I already know going into it that were bugging me the first time. And I think they were bugging me because it felt like my brain was on repeat, and this was repeating certain things that we'd read in the previous series. Anyway, I think I will really enjoy this the second go round because, like I said, I was enjoying it up until my brain fog hit, and then everything just kind of fell apart. But A Tide of Black Steel will be the final book that I add to my TBR for January. Now, that is a pretty typical stack of my reading, a pretty good representation of what I read in a month. One thing I would like for you guys to know is I am 100% a mood reader, and this is what I want to read right now. Will that change in 2 weeks? Maybe. I don't know. But with the goals I've set for myself, I really feel like this is a stack that I can tackle and be happy with. We have some romantasy, we have some sci-fi, we have some thriller, some fantasy. It is a very varied stack, and it is a stack that makes me very happy. So I do hope to tackle all of these books. Now, I did just haul some books that I'm itching to really put on the TBR, so I might throw one of those on there midway through. Also, I am going to start doing weekly vlogs instead of themed vlogs because I do think the weekly vlogs are better for me. I don't feel the stress to come up with some grand idea, and I think that they help you guys to see my reading tastes and why I DNF books, why I give things 5 stars. And I don't know that I'm the most entertaining person in the world because I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I do think that it's better for my mental headspace to do the weekly vlogs instead of trying to do theme vlogs throughout the year. But that's it for me. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. I will see you guys in my next video. Have a lovely day.